He's got it, wants to throw. Wentz looks, pressure comes. Wentz hit, sack, back inside the 20. Aiden Hutchinson, that's number 2.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Big D podcast, where we talk all things Detroit sports. I'm Caleb. This is my cousin Ben, and we're here to fill you in on everything that's happened in the world of Detroit sports. Benji, question for you. There was a lot of sports this weekend: basketball, hockey, football. There were some insane games. Shout out Texans Bucks, Stroud's masterclass. Warriors versus Thunder on Friday, where Clay hit the game winner. Raptors versus Spurs, where Scotty Barnes went crazy and won an OT. Bruins Red Wings, which we're going to talk about later. Washington versus USC, where there was like a million points scored. And quick question to you about that is USC defense versus Matt Canada offense. Who wins?
Matt Canada's offense. It's an NFL offense. Come on now.
Okay. All right. Clemson versus Notre Dame. Huge upset in football there. So which one, doesn't have to be any of the ones I named, which one was your favorite game you watched or just kind of watched upon this weekend?
Dude, my favorite game that I fully watched this weekend was honestly probably Eagles-Cowboys. But my favorite part game that I watched was that last 3 minutes of the Bucks-Texans game. Because C.J. Stroud's mad. Baker Mayfield driving down the field, scoring the touchdown with 50 seconds left. And then C.J. Stroud just dialing up a masterclass. And just the performance he put on was insane. I mean, he broke the single-game rookie passing yards.
Yeah, no, that was one of the greatest games I think I've ever seen. Another quarterback who played unbelievably well in the short amount of time that he had was
100%.
Josh Dobbs. I don't know if you want to talk about that for a second too, but he didn't even start the game. He came in the late second quarter and ended up coming back for him, and that last drive was pretty sick. And the fact that he hadn't taken a single snap in Vikings practice. He just went out there and hooped. It was unreal. I've never seen. I can't remember who it was, but someone said that was the most impressive thing he's ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember.
The Vikings head coach after the Kevin O'Connell after the game said it was one of the most impressive things he's ever seen from.
Maybe that's what
Kevin O'Connell came out after in the locker room and was like, "That's one of the most impressive things I've seen on the football field. Is you've been with us since Wednesday or something like that. Haven't taken any snaps in practice. Don't even know half the players' names on this team.
Don't even know their names.
And was practicing snap counts on the sideline after the quarterback went down with an injury with the offensive lineman. And he just went out there and he showed out. I don't think any pocket passing quarterback could have done what he did. I really don't. I think him being able to use his legs and everything like that really helped him out in that situation. But it was insane. Another guy that played pretty well in his first game was Aiden O'Connell. I don't know if you saw his game.
Oh yeah, that they played insanely well. It wasn't even just the offense either. It was the defense came out and played. Max Crosby, I saw his stat line, 3 sacks. He played every single snap on defense that day, and I kind of proved that he's there to prove something, and he didn't get traded at the deadline. I don't know if he exactly wanted to. I don't think he did necessarily, but he wanted to see a change somewhere in the organization in a positive direction, and 24-0 is a positive direction, I'd say.
Yeah, it's insane to see that head coach come out after, that interim head coach come out and post a shutout in his first game after how much the Raiders have been struggling this year. You just saw them play the Lions, and
it's really cool to see.
We beat them by 300 plus yards on the stat sheet. I know it was only a 12-point game, but still 300 yards on the stat sheet.
Yeah. Jahmyr Gibbs out yarded them.
Doesn't lie. So it was impressive. I really like some of the play.
And we'll talk more about Yeah, we'll talk more about some of these NFL games on Friday's show, and we run updates on the pick'ems, and we'll see who's in the lead there. I think I know who it is, but we'll see. We'll get the final count there. I just want to give a quick shout out to you. So last week's show, the thumbnail was T. Higgins will lay the hammer against the Bills, and I thought it was hilarious. And it was a reference to the DeMar Hamlin
Very
situation and
unfortunate,
whatnot,
though,
just kind of
Hamar
making light of that
Hamlin.
situation.
Not joking on it.
Very unfortunate. However, T. Higgins did in fact lay the
Dude.
hammer on the Bills. Posted his highest receiving yard clip this year. I think he had 10 I mean, it was like, I'm like, shout out you for that quote, because that was the definition of a facts podcast.
I think that's the only fact I said when I was naming stats, because I said Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to do anything, and I said Joe Burrow was going to throw for 500 plus yards, but T. Higgins did ball out.
Yeah.
So.
He did. Speaking of balling out, tell me about the Detroit Red Wings.
So the Detroit Red Wings, over the past week, they went 2-1. They had a huge overtime win against the Islanders, and then we struggled against the Florida Panthers, and we couldn't get the puck in the net. We lost 2-0. One of the goals was an empty netter, so kind of like 1-0 with an empty net goal, because you know hockey. And then the third game, which was a huge win against the Boston Bruins. It was their first game this year where they did not get a point in the standings, because their one loss before us was an overtime loss. They were 9-0-1 when we played them, and we ended up beating them. So huge division win against the Bruins there. Yeah.
That's massive. I feel like we should be more energized about that. That's like the coolest thing that, like, no team has done that. They faced 10 teams this year. I know one of them was the Red Wings already, but they played 10 other games. No one beat them in regular time.
No, it's 100%.
So that's pretty cool to see the Wings do that. And I will say, we called it.
We did.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Facts
so in
podcast.
that game, huge third period. We had 3 goals, I believe it was, in that third period. Just came back, and like, I think the score was 3-2 going into the third period. It even might have been 3-1. I think it was a 3-goal third period though. But ended up winning the game 5-4, and yeah, just in all, like, what I was watching and what I was seeing is we were struggling in the first 2 periods. I mean, we got two pucks in the net, but that third period we came out and just laid it down on them. We were up 5-3 within like 8 minutes of that third period, or 10 minutes of that third period. They ended up scoring 1 more, but yeah, huge win by the Red Wings there that week, or that day. So yeah.
Yeah, do you think it was part of Lalonde's game plan to sort of like kind of coast the first 2 periods and then just come out in the third kind of hungry, or did it just kind of happen that way? I wonder what your thoughts are on Lalonde's game plan.
I think it kind of was the game plan, but also it's hard to coast against a team like the Bruins, because if you try to coast against the Bruins, they're just they're gonna put the game out of reach.
They're gonna get killed. Yeah.
Now, when it was 3-2 at the end of the second period, I think then yes, but 100%, I think they had a different game plan going into that game than what they did before. I know some of the first line didn't play as much in the first 2 periods than they did the previous game against the Bruins, but yeah, it was the game plan was definitely different. I think they were coasting a little bit more and giving more guys some rest, so that third period they could go out and be more energized than them.
Yeah, so I feel like the first week of the season was kind of Alex DeBrincat week. Second week was Dylan Larkin week. Third week was our defensemen there, Mo Sider and Gostisbehere. Those guys were insane in the third week. This last week, Lucas Raymond. I'd give him MVP
Lucas Raymond was our highest point scorer of the week. He had 4 points, 2 goals, and 2 assists. So he had a very good week. Another guy, JT Comfort, he had 3 assists on the week. Mo Sider had another 3 assists on the week, so they both posted. And then Dylan Larkin, he didn't get an assist or goal against the Islanders, and then nobody scored against the Panthers. But he had 1 goal and 1 assist versus the Bruins, so he had a very good game against the Bruins too. And I know Lucas Raymond had a goal and an assist against the Bruins.
Yeah, those guys kind of shown their Red Wings, been here, done that before, and kind of showed it out a little bit. And it was cool to see those two guys who've been here for a little bit kind of show out this week.
Team played very well this week. One thing I wanted to get into, though, was some of our defensive and offensive stats for the season so far. So our defensive stats.
Okay.
So our shots against we have 371 shots taken against us. League average is 339. Our penalty kill percentage is 82.6. The league average is 79.5. So that's on the plus side, which is nice to see. The penalty kill is on the plus side.
That's good. Okay.
Save percentage is 90%. The league average is 90%. So we're average. Like save percentage is average. Goals against is goals against is 37, and then league average is 34. So we're on the negative side of that.
So not too far off there, but
and then
we want to be definitely lower than that.
Yeah. So what I've seen from our defense is we need to start playing a little bit better defensively. We're letting too many shots go on net, and we're letting too many shots get to the goalies, which causing them to have these like higher scoring games. I know the Florida Panthers game was only 2-0, but this one, just the other games, like some 5-4 games, like we've given up a lot of like 3-goal games this season, 4-goal games this season.
And I'll be interested to see when you talk about offensive team stats, and I think we can kind of sort of, when we get there, kind of dive into this a little bit more. But one thing, immediately just knowing the Red Wings roster, right, we're stacked a little bit more on the offensive side. So 100%. I almost wonder if our offensive guys are the ones that are potentially causing this. Because if you have so much offensive pressure and push up so much past those blue lines, it's hard to get back. And especially if you're being I wouldn't say lazy, but just, if you're just always focused, have that offensive mindset, you're probably not going to think immediately, oh, I need to get back. Like, can't be leaving our defense hanging 3-2 back there. We got to get back. And so I wonder if I would be okay with that stat, if our shots for us, like if our shots on goal are so much higher than league average, if there's just a lot of shots being taken when we're on the floor there, then I could see it. But it would be more of a problem to me is if we're right around league average or even below. Like that would be a big problem to me. But if we're above average, which I'm going to assume we are by a pretty good margin, I think, then I'm not too worried about it. It does hurt us in those games against the Panthers where we can't seem to get a puck to get in the back of the net, right? Those are games we're going to lose, right? But if we're in a shootout, right, if we're 5-5, 6-6 going into towards the end of the third, I think we win games like that. But in a chance where we have a game like against the Panthers where we couldn't finish, those are games that we're.
And I believe the Panthers games was our lowest shot on goal game of the season. That might be wrong, but I know it was lower than previous games that I've looked at before. So funny thing about the shots for, our shots for are the exact same as our shots against. We have 371 shots for also, and league average is 339, which it's going to be the same average for shots against and
which would make sense.
Shots for.
Okay, so that I'm okay with that.
No, I am okay with that right now. It is good to see that we're above average. I believe we're a top 5 team for shots for, but I believe we're a bottom 5 team for shots against. So, I mean,
which those go hand in hand. I think if you think about it rationally, those should go hand in hand. So it's good to see that it's not unequally balanced.
So so some offensive team stats. Right now in the season, we have 45 goals. League average is 34. We're way above average for goals. Our shooting percentage is 12.1%. League average is 10. So even though we're top 5 in shots for, we're still in the top. Like, I think we're in the top half teams for shooting percentage. I don't know exactly where we are in the rankings, but we're still in the top half, which is huge.
Yeah, we're probably close to top 10. Yeah.
We are second in power play goals with 14. We're behind the New Jersey, who has 18, I believe it was.
Holy Moses.
The average is 8 right now for power play goals in the season. Yep.
8?
And then our power
Okay.
play percentage is 28%. League average is 20.4%. So we're above average on our
Yeah,
power
okay,
play
that's
percentage.
good. That is high. Do you know where that
I
ranks
do not
us?
know for sure where that ranks us.
That's got to be pretty high.
I
That's gotta be
believe it
top
is
5,
top
if
5.
not
I
top
think
3.
it's 100% top 10. But yeah. So I know one thing that I've seen when I going back and looking at games is that we have a lot less penalty minutes than the teams are playing. I believe the Bruins had about 28 penalty minutes in the game we played against them. And we had, I think it was close to like 14, 12. I don't know the exact stat on that. But so, and then like the previous game, the Florida game, I believe we both had 10 or something like that. And then the game before that, we had 4 penalty minutes, while the Islanders had somewhere around 14. So, I mean, it's good to see that we are not getting as many, like, we're not going into shorthanded situations as much as teams are going against us, which is very good to see.
Yeah, that's good.
Um,
Yeah, that's awesome to see. Yeah, go.
So some of my key takeaways from this team so far this season is that the offense is performing way above expected. At least for me. I knew that our offense was going to be better than our defense coming into the season, but our offense being like offensively speaking, being a top 5 offensive team right now is just way better than I expected to be.
Do you think we can maintain that?
I think there's a chance that we can maintain it. Definitely the pressure we're putting on. I think we maintain definitely being a top 10 team in the league. So and then defensively, I think we do need to start performing better, and we do need to be able to get back to the get back on defense better when after attacking the blue line and stuff like that. And I honestly think that if our offense can keep this up, and even if they slow down just a bit, and our defense gets not even like drastically better, but a little bit better, I really do think this team could make it to the playoffs and make a good run in the playoffs. So,
Yeah, I think so too. I just think we need to kind of sort of become a little bit more all around, kind of balance out those negative things and turn them a little more positive. But I could totally see it, and we're in a decent spot right now. I don't exactly know, but I think we're 4th in the conference right now, so that's a good spot to be in. We do have a tough schedule this week, especially our first game this week against the Rangers away. The Rangers did just get their overtime loss against the Wild on Saturday, but they have a few days to prepare, obviously, and I expect them to bounce back and come out kind of hungry against the Wings, especially because they're back home now. So I do expect that to be a tough game.
yeah, so and then our other 2 games this week are against the Canadians, which we're home for. And then which the Canadians are 5-4-2. So they're like
Decent.
they're middle of the pack
Yeah.
team, like they're over 500. So I guess they're
Mm-hmm.
just under 500 because technically they're 5-6, but with the 2 overtime
Mm-hmm.
losses, they're still getting points in the standings. And then the Blue Jackets are 4-5-2. So I think if we come out of this week with 2 wins, that's still a very good week. But if we can come away this week 3-0, I think that's huge. Like if we come out of this week 3-0 or even 2-0-1, like we lose in overtime.
That'd be nice. 2-0-1,
Oh yeah,
I'd take 2 for sure.
100%. So right now I am looking at the standings. And right now we are tied third in our conference. And then
We have to get Eric on the pod.
I don't know what we rank in the entire NHL, but we are, I can get it right here.
Okay.
We are 8th in the entire NHL, and then we're tied third in
Okay.
the conference. So, yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Good spot to be in. Hopefully we can maintain that. I do expect us to clean up the defense a little bit. That's all we need. All we need. So a team that needs a lot more than just a little cleanup. The Detroit Pistons. It's just kind of hard to be excited about this team right now with how they're playing. If that's what you want to call what they do. um, I do want to just throw out some bright spots real quick though. Two of my favorite guys to watch every night the Pistons play are Jalen Duren and Marcus Sasser. We'll talk about Sasser in a second, but Jalen Duren in his last 4 games, averaging 13.8 points per game, 9.5 rebounds a game, so almost a double-double, 2.5 assists. He's shooting 60% from the field, which as a big man is just above average, I think. And then big thing here is 87.5% from free throw. I don't know if I really expected that from him. I think I expected low 80s, but that's awesome to see. Hopefully he can maintain that. And he is setting himself up to be a top young big man in the league right now.
When you think about it, he is only 19 years old right now. Like, he is very young.
Unreal.
So, like, he is one of the, in my opinion, one of the top guys under the age of, like, 22 right now. So, yeah, I really do think that he will be a very good part of the Pistons program in the coming years because he's already shown it.
For sure. He can, he's still got, what do people say? That your peak age in the NBA is like 27, 28, and he's still 8 years away from that. That's insane. So I'm excited for him to be a part of this program for a long time. I hope. Hopefully we don't mess it up. Hopefully he stays healthy. Another guy I'm excited about is Marcus Sasser. His last 4 games, he's also averaging 13.8 points per game, 3.8 assists, 2.5 rebounds, a whopping 58% from the field, which is really good for a guard. What's even better, though, is 64.7% from 3. That's huge for a team that doesn't have a lot of shooting. And I don't know if we really picked him up to be a shooter. I think it was kind of more of an all-around guard, and he had the potential to kind of light it up from back there. But another big thing I like from a guard is 0 turnovers in the past 4 games. That's going to be huge for this team. We'll talk about that more in a second. But I do want to compare Marcus Sasser to our boy Joe Harris. So Marcus Sasser, this is all based on the last 4 games, 22.7 minutes. Joe Harris is down to 16.
Thank God.
As it should be. But in those 16 minutes, Joe Harris is averaging 4.8 points per game, 2 turnovers, and 1 assist per game. He's also shooting a whopping 35.7% from 3, which is literally what we picked him up to do.
It is better than he was doing at the beginning of the season, though, which I think is good. It is much better than what he was doing at the beginning of the season. He could not hit a 3 at the beginning of the season, so
I do hope it still continues to go up, and I think it will. I think he's going to hit 40. Being in the position he's in, to be frank, that's literally what we pay him to do. Like, we don't pay him to play defense. We don't play him to drive. We don't play him to slash. We play him to space out and shoot a 3. But I wanted to pay him to not only shoot the 3, but to make it too, because they can pay me to shoot 3s.
I get paid second most on the Pistons
Am I going to
shoot some 3s.
To shoot 3s, yeah. It's all about making them. But it is nice to see Joe getting a few less minutes and Sasser kind of increasing those minutes. And the stats, if you just look at stats, it's pretty obvious who should be playing more. And Monty Williams has started to do that, so that is good to see. They're not – so Sasser and Duren are 2 of the guys I'm very much in love with on this team right now. The third guy I love is Oscar Thompson, but we've talked about him a lot, so I'm going to kind of graze over him. He's a dog. He's insane. I love watching. Love him. Okay. I also really like. Okay, scratch the word really. I like Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Stewart, and Cade Cunningham. Um, Marvin and Isaiah at that kind of, they kind of just play like they kind of just swap in and out with each other, and they're decent. I mean, they're solid. I don't know if there's really much else to say. I don't. Marvin Bagley is very efficient when he has those minutes, and I do appreciate that. Isaiah Stewart can be a little crazy sometimes and get in foul trouble, so it's nice to have somebody kind of backing him up. And then Cade Cunningham, man, I don't know if he's ready to be that guy just yet. I know he's pretty young, but like, and this is the case for all failing Detroit teams, is we like to get young guys and say, hey, here, go drop 30 a game, go hit 300. You're 22 years old. Can you please carry us to the postseason?
No, you
Like, you can't
can't.
expect that from a guy. So I'm not out on these guys at all, but I'd like to see him grow this season. I'd like to see a growth period. Two guys I'm not too sure on is Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes. Again, similar to Cade, Jaden Ivey's just young. I don't expect too much from him, and he's not posting bad numbers or anything. It's just when I watch him in the game, he just doesn't. Something's not clicking yet, and I don't really know what it is. But there's something that's just not clicking for him. I don't know if it's a chemistry thing, if it's a if it's a comfort thing, if it's a I don't know if it's a bad relationship with the coach. I don't know, but just something's not clicking with him, and I do think that if we're just in experimentation mode, I do think we try to start him one of these games just to see what happens. Give him 30 minutes. Just if it's an awful show or an awful show out from him, then you learned. But at this point, Pistons are what 2-5 now. They lost 4 straight. I'll get into that in a second. But I
Yeah,
think we need to try
and
something
one
new.
thing I wanted to add is how much worse would be
Yeah, go for it.
starting Jaden Ivey over Killian Hayes?
That was my next point. Is Killian Hayes is also a guy I'm not too sure on. If you asked me this a week ago, I would have said I hated Killian Hayes, and I wanted to. What did I say? I wanted him in China with Dwight Howard. He looked a little better this week. Nothing I'm ooh and ahhing over, but yeah. What do you got for me?
I really do like how Marcus Sasser has been. Like, I literally messaged you the other day when the Pistons game was going on, and I'm like, dude, this Marcus Sasser has just been going off recently. Like, insane game by him. I think that was after the was it the Suns game? I think I messaged you after. I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Duren just been I love Jalen Duren last year too. Like, he wasn't getting as many minutes last year, but I've just loved the guy ever since we
He's
19 years old, and he's just balling out right now. Like, balling out for his age. Like, it's insane to see him being 19 years old and is putting up these numbers in the NBA. Yeah.
He's younger than me.
So, but yeah.
Makes me think what I've done in my life.
I would love to see a possible switch, or just doing some mixing and matching with Jaden and Killian. Maybe splitting time a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Start Jaden over Killian. See if Killian's roll off the bench would be better than him starting. But yeah, and I mean, I don't hate Joe Harris, but I do think that if he starts to become better, I think I'm really going to like him. Like, if he starts to hitting his threes, if he starts coming off the bench, and even if he's not getting high minutes, but he's coming in these times where we need to just start hitting shots, and he comes in and just hits these shots, I think that would be huge to see from him. Even if, like,
I'd love to see him hit shots.
I mean, I think any Pistons fan would. But yeah, I really do like this team. I really do like Marvin, Isaiah, and Cade. I do agree with you though. Is Cade getting put into this role of lead this team, like be the unit and just take everything from this team? I think it is too early for him, but it's hard because our entire team is young. I mean, the only guy that's like older on our team is Joe Harris, and yeah, and I'm interested to see what we're gonna do when Bogdanovich comes back. I still don't even know the timeline on that. I don't remember what his injury is. He might even be out for the season for all I know. Um, I don't think he's
I
out
don't
for the
think so.
season, but I keep on meaning to look that up so we can talk about that, and I always forget about it. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So
I
the
was just gonna say,
yeah
yeah, I mean, I agree
the
with you,
rest of
Hub.
my sort of the rest of my sort of comments on this is that the rest of the bench right now is just not good enough to compete, but that's understandable because we have 3 to 4 kind of big injuries at the same time, and I don't not necessarily big injuries, but 3 or 4 injuries to guys that are contributors on our team. And I'd like to talk about the Suns game because the Suns game was interesting. Um, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker didn't play, and we got killed. And it was pretty much Kevin Durant. He had 41, I think, 41 points. Um, but if you look at like the minutes for this game, it's just kind of gross because versus Suns, Cade had 39 minutes, Killian Hayes 34 minutes, Isaiah Stewart 34 minutes, which is wild. Jalen Duren 31 minutes, Osar Thompson, our newest guy, 38 minutes, second on the team. Marcus Sasser, a guy who was probably supposed to play 15 minutes a game, played 30 last game. And to be fair, he did go kind of crazy. So I do think that I don't hate that move. But I'm trying to get my camera to focus again. Hello? I don't know what to do. There we go. Okay. And then there was a big drop off. Joe Harris had 13 minutes. Understandable. Marvin had 11 minutes. And then everyone else combined for 10. And that was a game where we had no James Wiseman, we had no Jaden Ivey, we had no Alec Burks, we had no Monte Morris, and we had no Bogdanovich. So originally I was frustrated looking at this, but then I look and I'm like, dude, we're missing like our 4th through 8th best players. And that's huge for a bench depth. Like we need that bad. And so I'm excited for that. Alec Burks has been really good this year. Excited for him to come back. Jaden Ivey was just sick one game. He should be back. James Wiseman, I don't even know what's wrong with him. I just think that he's not good and whatever. But we'll see what's happening with him. I know that there's been some coaches' decisions not to let him play right now. I don't know much about the situation there. Maybe you do. But yeah, we're heading in an okay direction if we get our
Yeah,
guys back.
so talking about James Wiseman, I don't know really what's going on with him at the Pistons, but watching him on the Warriors, I do like James Wiseman. I know a lot of people don't like him that much, but from watching him play, I really do like James Wiseman. I just know Kevon Looney on that Warriors team. They have Kevon Looney, Draymond Green, both those guys. Like, Draymond's always gonna start. Like he's not scoring much, but like he's the guy on the floor that's going to win you games, like with his presence.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't gonna start over either of those guys. Um, but watching that Warriors team, because if going back to the first podcast, my second favorite team is the Warriors. And I watched them a lot last year. I watched them more than I watched the Pistons last year. And I really did like James Wiseman when he was in. So I'm really excited if he starts to play more. I'm excited to see what happens with him if he can come in more. The issue is Jalen Duren's been playing incredible. Isaiah Stewart's been playing good.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin's been playing good. So I don't know where he's gonna come in and fit with this team. He might take some minutes away from like these guys when they like Isaiah Stewart and these guys when they get tired. But yeah, I'm hoping that he is available here soon and will start to play a little bit more.
Yeah, I hope so too. So, getting to more of the team side of things, the last 4 games, we're talking about the bad. So, the worst thing is that we went 0-4 this week against our Western Conference opponents. We said we would like to go 3-1, but 2-2 would be okay, and we did a lot worse. 0-4. Actually, it can't get worse. So cool. Good job there. Field goal percentage. Last 4 games, 45%. That puts us 25th in the league last 4 games. That just smells 0-4 right there. Another thing that smells 0-4 is our turnovers per game. Are we surprised? No, because this has been a problem all season. The last 4 games, we averaged 16.5 turnovers a game. That puts us 29th. So, 0-4. All right. Personal fouls. This was an interesting one. Because holy moly, dude. You have 110 personal fouls in the last 4 games.
How was that even possible?
Okay, maybe this is for the whole season. That would make more sense. Maybe it is past. I'll have to look this up again. Anyways, personal fouls, 110. Either whatever. Despite that, that's 30th in the league. And the next closest is the Clippers with 95. So that's 15 foul difference. But 110 personal fouls? And it's not even like that's close to the 29th team. The 29th team is 95, which is crazy.
That's insane.
So I'm pretty sure this is for the past 4 games.
I'm going to have to assume it's the past 4 games because we had 26 total personal fouls against the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But let's just switch to the good a little bit quickly. Last 4 games, 3-point percentage has been 39.8%. That's 6th in the league. That's pretty good. I like that. Shout out Marcus Sasser because I think he's pretty much carrying that number. Assists per game, which has been a good thing for us all year. Assists per game is 27.5. That's 10th in the league. I do expect us in our offense, which is very not reliant on the isolation, to sort of be around there the whole time, the whole season. So I'll be happy if we're in top 10 there, especially with our offense. So here's my next comment. What are we looking to see? Literally a win. At this point, a win. And Joe Harris not come off the bench. Just kidding. Joe Harris, we love you. Okay, not right now, but we you need to earn your minutes, buddy. No, for real though, we have to limit turnovers and fouls because those numbers are absolutely ridiculous. It looks like you loaded up 2K and just you know how you like want to steal, like you just swipe. That's what the Pistons are doing, stealing the ball, and it's not working. And our steals per game is not good either. I looked that up. We're middle of the pack there. Not good, like 19th or 20th or something like that. Anyways, back to this personal foul nonsense. Last 4 games, we had 19 against the Thunder. So 4 games ago, we went 19 for 24 from the free throw line. The Thunder went 23 for 28. So just going into our opponents here, Blazers, 27 free throws made. That's 27 points, by the way, that are free. Hence the word free throw. 27 free points to the Blazers. 33 free points to the New Orleans Pelicans. That's like a third of a team score. And the Suns, 26 free throws. I think that's step 1. Like, forget the turnovers. Just stop fouling. Guards have to stay in front. Bigs have to battle in the paint, and wings have to help. It's just simple fundamental basketball. We teach it on a high school level. We teach it at a middle school level. Guys, it's NBA is no different. It's a lot different, but when it comes to these fundamentals, it's the same. If you get beat, your team better help, and your bigs better battle. That's all it is. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we do need to limit the turnovers. Our turnovers have been atrocious this game. I think we start winning more games if we start to win it. Like, with our assists the way that we are, I can't believe that we're top 10 in assists with how many turnovers we're getting. because just the turnovers per game need to slow down a lot, and the fouls, like giving up this many free throws per game, is just not like we're not going to win games like this, which this
It's
proves that
killing
we're
us.
0-4 in the last 4, and we're giving up an average of 30 free throws per game, 31 free throws a game in the last 4 games, and it's just not sustainable for an NBA team to win. So yeah,
An acceptable
it's
season.
just
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen if
Can you hear that? Alexa just started going nuts.
no, but it's just not gonna.
Okay.
We're not gonna win games if we keep this pace up with these stats.
No, we can't. You can't win
And yeah,
games
no.
like that.
All I want to see is
You
a win with
can't.
this team. Like if we get a win, I'll be happy at this point. And if we don't win, let's hope we win the
especially
draft
with
lottery this year.
You know we ain't winning that. We never win that. Yeah, so why did I care so much last week about our record this week? For last week? Well, this week, after this posts, we will have played the Warriors. They play Monday night. The Warriors are 5-2. It's at home, so that I don't know if that helps us or not. I don't know if I don't know. I don't really know much about the fan base there in LCA, but I have to assume it's all right. Then we go to Milwaukee on Wednesday to play the Bucks. Then we come back home, play the 76ers on Friday. That's our tournament game, I think. I think it is. I think that's our in-season tournament game. The 76ers are 4-1. And then we go to Chicago on Sunday to play the 2-5 Bulls. So the combined record for our opponents this week is 14-10. If you scratch the Bulls, it's 12-5. So tough week this week. I usually predict what I want to do this week, but I'm actually not going to because last week it just bit me in the butt. You know what? Actually, new strat. I think we go 0-4 this week. Moving on. I'm ready to move on to something a little bit happier. All right, I'm repping the swag, Michigan Wolverine swag. Benji, tell me about our Wolverine.
The Michigan Wolverines football had a game Saturday against Purdue. We won 41-13. JJ McCarthy was 24 for 37 with 335 yards, no touchdown passes. Dog.
Yeah, screw that. Roman Wilson, anytime
touchdown real. Scored. Goddamn, missed like 3 parlays
that
up for
made
me,
me so
but it's
mad.
fine.
It was supposed to be free.
It's been free every other week.
Yeah, why not this week?
And Blake Corum had 15 carries for 44 yards and 3 touchdowns. So our running backs took all the touchdowns this week. Donovan Edwards had one,
Yeah,
and then
no kidding.
What's his name? Samaj Morgan, maybe? I don't know.
Sounds right. Zamaje? It's Zamaje or something. He's a wide receiver, though.
Yeah, it was an end around. It was a 44-yard end around.
Actually, I have a funny story about that. I'm going to share that real quick. So my brother moved out of our house at home this weekend, and we were watching the Michigan game, and he left during the middle of it to kind of head to his apartment that he just moved into on Saturday. And so we're just sitting there watching the game. He's like, all right, I'm out. We all kind of said our goodbyes. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm watching the game. It's me, my mom, my dad, my sister, and my mom goes, I can't believe that he just left. And she was like kind of like getting a little sad. And I'm over here watching the Michigan game, and I see Zamaj come around the end, and it's an end round, and he's free. So my mom goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sad that he's like leaving." And I'm sitting there on the couch watching this game, and I say, "He's gone." And it was the worst timing ever. And she's like, "What did you say?" And I was like, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?" I literally said, "He's gone." The perfect time when my mom was sad about my brother leaving. And I felt so bad, but it's so funny, and I'll probably never forget that story because it's so hilarious. And I'm just sitting there, he gone, and mom goes, "What do you mean he's gone?" I was like, "Oh yeah, my bad."
Yeah, no,
So
that's hilarious.
there's my story on
That's a pretty good story about the interim. Okay, going back to some of the Michigan stats. Roman Wilson, 9 receptions for 143 yards. No,
You're telling me one of those couldn't be a touchdown?
not a single one of those could be a touchdown. So, Roman Wilson is easily the number 1 wide receiver on this team. He is looking like he's a sleeper wide receiver in college football right now. I feel like not many people have him high on like their wide receiver boards, but he has been going and like, he's been insane this year. He's been very consistent this year for Michigan. Defensively, Will Johnson had 1 interception, so it was good to see Will Johnson. He did drop another one while I was watching the game. He dropped another one,
that.
almost had his second of the game. One thing I wanted to talk about though was we only had 1 sack in the game. So one thing I would like to see is us getting to the quarterback a little bit more. Definitely I mean, it's hard to say that though because going back and watch Michigan like 2 years ago, we had Aiden Hutchinson and Ajabo coming off.
Oh, Jabo.
Dude, I loved watching those calls in the Ohio State game.
Gus Johnson is him.
But Aiden, like, it makes me just want to see more pass rush because just watching them come off the edge that year and getting 6 sacks combined every single game, I swear to God, was just fun to see. We had 3 TFLs though, which is nice to see us getting in the backfield and getting the TFLs. I'd like to see a little bit more.
Okay.
I don't know how much Purdue ran the ball against us, but I would like to see a little bit more TFLs. One thing I want to talk about with this Michigan football team though, we have outscored our opponents 114-0 in the 3rd quarter this year. The halftime.
What did you just say? No. What did you just say? 114-0? We haven't given up a single point in the 3rd quarter?
We have not given up a single point in the 3rd quarter this entire season so far.
That's because we go back in the locker room and get the team signed.
Yes, exactly.
For the 3rd quarter and
we're scouting in the
That's what we do.
But the halftime adjustments for this team have been insane. Sure. Like, which if you go back to last year too, it was the same thing. There was a couple games last year where we were losing going into the half, and then we just come out and we just blow teams out in the second half. Our second half production compared to our first half production is so much better. We've been insane. And I know our 4th quarter, I don't know what our 4th quarter stats are, but there's only been maybe 1 game this entire year where JJ McCarthy actually played a 4th quarter.
No kidding. He comes out.
I think the Purdue game was the first game where JJ McCarthy played a 4th quarter.
Yeah, maybe Indiana a little
So, bit. Yeah, no, it's just been insane. And then one thing I want to get into with this Michigan football team too is Michigan does have a huge game coming up this weekend against Penn State.
Big game, baby.
We will talk more again about that in Friday's podcast, but I just wanted to bring that up because it's an important one. So also something we should learn later this week. Don't have any new news to report on it now, but what's going to happen to Michigan with this entire investigation going on about the sign stealing?
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm sure on Friday's podcast we will have more to talk about it, but I did see something that they are coming out.
But if we have to,
there is something coming out here in the next 48 hours on what the punishment will be.
Yeah, I think we're likely to see a Jim Harbaugh suspension. How many games? Who knows? Hopefully, there's no touching the bowl eligibility
Yeah.
or recruiting,
I think it's
but you never know.
unlikely we
We will
see
see.
a
We'll report
yeah,
as
I think it's
soon as we
unlikely
get
we
it.
see a recruiting or a bowl game ban, but who knows at this point. I mean, it's hard to say.
This
Yep.
is all new for everybody.
And
So
then also coming up this week, Michigan basketball starts. Going on to some better news. Maybe. So think about we hope.
we hoping,
Think
baby.
about Michigan basketball is our expected record this year. Our projected
I
record
don't want to talk about it.
is a 15-14 overall, which the record may change a little bit if we win different games in like the Battle for Atlantis
so
tournament and
bad.
stuff like that. But projected record is 15-14 and 9-11 in the Big Ten.
When's the last time Michigan's finished bottom half
Last
of the
year.
Big Ten? I wonder what that is. Well, besides last year, I don't know what the stats
Yeah, I don't
on
know.
that, but
Can we
it's been
bring
a rough
Beeline
2
back?
years. What? I was gonna ask you, are you kind of over this whole Juwan Howard thing? Because
I'm
I
very
am.
much.
I'm over it.
If
I'm tired of it. It was cool for like 2 years, and
I'm
now I'm
very
just
much
done.
starting to get over it. If he turns around this year and if we come out of this year, at this point, I'll be happy if we make March Madness this year. That's where this season is looking at.
I might take the under on the 15 wins. No, I actually won't. But like, there's this little sliver in me that
Yeah.
really thinks it's true.
So right now,
we did beat Northwood though.
right now we have a 1.8% chance to be Big Ten conference champs.
Jesus Christ!
To have the best record in the Big Ten.
To win it or to make
That's
it?
to win the best record in the conference.
The best record in the.
We have a 3.1% chance to win the Big Ten tournament. So we're coming out of the gates swinging this
double.
year. We're a tournament team.
We usually are a tournament team, though. I'm not gonna lie. Well, we were with Beeline. Come back, please. Come back. Why did you leave? Why did you go? Why did you go join Cleveland, bro? And then won 17 games.
Isn't he
and
working
got
with
fired.
the Pistons now?
I have no clue. That'd be interesting.
No, I'm almost positive he's working somewhere in the Pistons.
That'd be sick. I'm gonna talk about the upcoming schedule this week. So first game, legitimate game, is against UNC Asheville Tuesday evening. Should be a W. Friday at Youngstown State, November 10th. Should be a W. Starting off the year 2-0. Can't get much better. Both games are at home. I expect us to start off 2-0. If we don't, then I probably won't turn on a game the rest of the year.
Yeah, if we lose one of the next two games, if we lose one of these first two games this week, we may never talk about Michigan basketball again on this podcast.
It's a wash. It's a wrap.
It's ending. If we lose a game this week, podcast over.
I would love to have a Big D podcast where it's just all positive and I can just milk the milk out of the positivity.
You think that's ever going to happen with Detroit sports?
No, especially with this next team we're going to talk about, the Detroit Tigers. Now, that was probably a really bad transition into this team because we didn't hear that terrible news this week. But I will start with the sad news. Eduardo Rodriguez has exhibited his player option and opted out of his remaining 3-year contract with the Detroit Tigers worth $49 million. Now, last year he posted a 3.30 ERA and 8.4 Ks per 9 with a 1.15 whip, which is elite, to say the least. He posted a 3.5 WAR Now, the thing about WAR is that's an easy kind of thing to compare to like how much a person should be paid because it's essentially just like your value to a team. So 3.5 WAR, it is said that a player in Major League Baseball should make about $6 to $7 million per WAR per season. So the Tigers right now, this last year, this doesn't include the year before, this is just last year, ended up paying him $4.6 million per WAR. And I kind of understood why he left. A big market team will pay him more than that. I'm expecting a 3-year $20 million or 3-year $60 million contract for him if he does sign that 3-year deal. But I'm expecting 20 million AAV for him, especially in the lefty market. It might even be more than that, especially being a lefty. However, he doesn't want to go to LA. He doesn't want to go to East Coast. So honestly, that doesn't really leave him that many options for like these big market teams. So I do expect him to be a Houston Astro or a Texas Ranger, maybe a St. Louis Cardinal, maybe a Tampa Bay Ray, or maybe a Minnesota Twin. I don't know. One of those solid teams in the middle of the
Yeah.
country because that's what
And
he
even
wants
though
to
he
do.
opted out of the Tigers contract, doesn't mean we can't sign him for more money. Correct? I don't know how that works.
That is true. No, that is
So, I
100%
mean,
true. I actually think we have
yes,
first
I
dibs.
could see
So
us signing him back just for more money. I could see him opting out just so he could get paid more money, get paid actually what he's worth, because I think he is worth more. Like, I really do think he's worth more than what he made last year. Definitely according to, like, if you look at the statistics,
for sure,
he proved
he
it.
proved it.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so I would love to see Tigers re-sign him for, even if we have to pay him a little bit more, I would love to see the Tigers re-sign him. I really love Erod. So it's going to be sad to see him go.
You think we should aim around 20 mil?
Yeah. For how he did this year,
I think so
20
too.
mil, yeah. Definitely with
Yeah,
the
right now
lefty
we're around
market,
15, 16. So
100%.
yeah. And I know that Blake Snell is available in the lefty market this year. I don't know how many other lefties are available though. Are we getting Blake Snell? Nope. I'm just saying other teams looking at the market being like, oh,
I mean,
Mark
if we
Canha
pay
should be
Blake Snell
available.
enough,
Well, you know what? Let's just say screw it and get Shohei, Yamamoto, and Blake Snell.
let's be like the
I like it.
Dodgers, but actually
Then
win.
we can go 500 next year. Yeah, then we can go 500 next year. Good news though. Well, we'll talk about if it's good news or not. I think it is personally. Mark Canha has been traded to the Tigers for right-handed relief pitcher Blake Holub, which is a dope name. Mark Canha is a 34-year-old corner outfielder, DH utility guy. We're paying him $11.5 million this year. It's the last year of his contract. He's the one who got traded from the Mets to the Brewers middle of the season at the trade deadline, and then really kind of balled out with the Brewers. Slashed a 287, 373, 427 clip. That gives him a straight 800 OPS in the second half of the season there. And that would actually finish second among the Tigers behind Kerry Carpenter. So that's really sad to see, but also cool. The fact that that would make him second is sad, but the fact that he is second would be cool. He finished with 2.2 WAR in 139 games played between the Mets and the Brewers, with 11 home runs, 11. Did I say that? 11 home runs, 51 runs scored, and 62 RBIs. Therefore, based on his WAR accumulated last year, we'd be paying him $5.23 million per WAR, which, like I said before, then would be a good value. Do I think he is as successful as he was with the Brewers in the last half of the season? No. Do I expect him to be more of the guy he was with the Mets, which would have averaged out to be about a 1.5, 1.6 WAR guy? I think so. Hitting around 240, playing 6 days a week. This move did kind of confuse me, and I'll talk about that in a second. But would we give up Blake Holub, 25-year-old, 6'6", 230-pound right-handed relief pitcher? In 2023, he had a 3.03 ERA and a 1.07 WHIP as a relief pitcher. Didn't start a single game. He had some saves, so I don't know if he's more of a closer guy for these teams. I think that was kind of his role, especially based on where he was. He bounced around Lake Erie and West Michigan. I'm sure in West Michigan he kind of was that closer guy, as he does throw 93 to 96 with a slider. Nothing really that special with this guy. I mean, 93, 96 is pretty sick. I wish I could do that. But in terms of Major League Baseball talent, at this point in the game, it's kind of average.
No, I wish I could throw 93, 96. I throw too hard though. I throw like 101 on the gun. So yeah, I wish it was a little bit lower.
I did that with my left arm, but then my left arm blew out, and I can only throw like 90
Yeah,
with my
so
right now.
it's a struggle out here throwing too fast. But yeah.
That's all you got to say.
No.
So, overall, this move really kind of confused me a little bit, because I thought the Tigers were against like signing veteran guys, because we certainly draft that way. Since we draft 18-year-old kids who play high school baseball in Indiana, and we think they're going to be the next Ichiro Suzuki, but they end up hitting 237 in the minors this year, while the 4th and 5th pick, the 2 picks behind us, are batting like 360 in the minors. But that's cool. That's a rant for another day. And if we aren't planning to compete, why would we make this trade? But does that mean we're trying to compete? But with Erod leaving, it doesn't seem to be the case. However, we could sign him back, like you said. But what are we doing? Like, are we trying? Like, I don't really know.
Man, I don't even know at this point. We might be trying to compete, but like at this point, I have no idea. I'm wondering if they're bringing in Mark Canna to be the guy that replaces Miggy at the DH spot. Honestly, I could really see that happening. I believe you're gonna bring this up, but because I don't know where he's gonna play in the outfield.
I know. I'm going to bring that up in a second. We have our outfielders, I thought. Austin Meadows, I think, is going to come back.
Who knows?
I don't know. Parker Meadows will be there. Akil Baddoo will be there. However, talk about Mr. Inconsistent is Akil Baddoo, because there are weeks where he'll hit 1,700 home runs, and then the next week he'll have 1,700 strikeouts. So that's cool. Riley Green is the opposite. Dude goes 1 for 4 or 2 for 5 every single game. Kerry Carpenter is insane. He's going to fill one of those corner outfield spots or DH. And I just named 5 outfielders that we have.
Max Clark, who we drafted. He's going to ball out. Trust. He's going to come into the... Next year. He's going to post a 300 average next year in the minors.
Okay. If he doesn't, then what? When can I call it a...
When he's 22 years old, you can call it a fail.
Because Wyatt Langford and Walker Jenkins, who went 4 and 5, literally look like the next Ken Griffey Jr. Both of them. Oh, but Caleb, we wanted to draft a high school player. Guess what? Walker Jenkins is 19 years old. He is a high school guy. And he went 5th. And he looks so much better. It's just the swing looks so much smoother than Max's. And I was sitting on my couch watching this draft. And I was like, oh my gosh, Paul Skeens went 1. Oh my gosh, Dylan Cruz went 2. oh my goodness, we are getting Wyatt Langford. I was creaming in my shorts, waiting for them to call this, and I hear Max Clark, and I had to explain to my dad who Max Clark was. And all I said was that I've seen him on TikTok
Yeah, pretty
a few
much.
times.
TikTok and YouTube.
Bro hit 700 in high school ball in Indiana. That's all I had to say.
He's going to be the best player to
And
ever come out
I
of
just
Indiana.
knew it was. Can't verify that if that's true or not, but it's not.
We're going to look up the best MLB player from Indiana. There's no one. There's
Like
no one. 1885?
Huh? Because everyone's from like Central
all right,
America.
sorry,
now.
I'm trying to find somebody that I like actually know. Don Larson.
Dude, this wasn't even on a script. Who?
Kenny Lofton.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he's going to be better than Kenny Lofton. Yeah, no, it's over. It's over.
Tommy John.
Was Tommy John actually good, or
Man,
do we know that?
I
don't know
don't
if he was
know,
good or not.
but he pitched 26 seasons in the major. So,
could someone check on that man? How many arms has he had?
Yeah.
No, but maybe there is a spot in left for him if Carey DHs, Torque plays first, and Austin Meadows just doesn't come back, and then Parker can play center and Riley can play right.
Yeah, sorry. I looked the best player from, or like one of the best players from Indiana apparently is Mordecai Three Finger Brown.
That's what they call me in college. All right.
Moving on. What were you saying though?
Don't even remember. This wasn't even on the script. Max Clark. I just, every time I think about the Tigers sucking, he just comes to my mind because I literally like hated. That is my who's the guy that taken in front of like for the Pistons and like behind LeBron, but in front of like Chris Bosh and
Man, who even
Carmelo and
cares?
stuff.
Let's not talk about that either.
It'll come to me in a second.
No,
That's
Eric
generation.
goddamn Ebra.
No, I think this is going to be worse. I do think this is going to be worse. Darko Milicic. I didn't even have to type it in. Darko Milicic. This is our Darko Milicic pick right here. Because Walker Jenkins and Wyatt Langford are going to be the next Mike Trout and Ken Griffey Jr. And I'm going to clip this part of the podcast where we say this and probably bawl my eyes out every single night. You know, I'm not even going to talk about the rest of the Tigers because I'm just depressed now. I understand why the Brewers did it. They're trying to get young guys in the outfield like Sal Frelick and their whatever. I don't care. The Brewers are just going to choke in the playoffs anyways. So. Like they do every single
it's
year.
horrible.
At least I don't have hope for the playoffs like Milwaukee fans have.
At least I don't.
Playoffs. And then they just get
at least I don't have hope for the playoffs for like any Detroit. The only wild to say, most outrageous thing I'm about to say, the only team I have hope for the playoffs right now is the Detroit Lions. Imagine saying this like 8 years ago.
No, the Red Wings are dogs.
8 years ago.
Even just 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that is going to be it for today's episode. Why did we get so depressing at the end? I don't know. But whenever someone literally says the word Max or the word Clark, I go into a state of eternal sadness.
My bad for that one.
You have to do the outro. I can't do this. Oh, here we go. Check out our Instagram and TikTok, motown.madness, for daily content. Don't check on TikTok for daily content because we're just getting that started. Check out Instagram for daily content. We do post 1 to 2 times a day there. sometimes more if there's a lot of stuff going on. Those links are in the description of the video. Go ahead and like this video, hit the subscribe button as we're trying to build up this channel, get it to grow. Share with your friends and family. On Friday, we will update Week 9 pick'ems, see who's king. This guy. Complete the Week 10 slate. And we'll award our Motown Madness past and present players of the week. I believe I'm in charge of past this week. You're in charge of present. I got to come up with somebody. Maybe it's Matt.
Put him in the past already.
No, mine's going to be no, you're yeah, just put him in the past. Maybe
No, yours is gonna be Darko Milicic.
That's what I'm just gonna say. Mine's gonna 100% be Darko Milicic, and yours is gonna be Max Clark, and we're just gonna cancel the channel. YouTube already tried to do that. For real this time, we're canceling the channel. Benji, any last comments?
Let's hope for some good weeks out of the Red Wings. Lions win this coming Sunday. Michigan win against Penn State. We're not going to get into the Pistons because if they win, we'll be happy. Yeah, let's just hope for a good week in Detroit sports, and that's all I got to say.
We can only hope. That is it for us in the Big D podcast. We are out of here. Peace.